Excellent. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. My name is Hylke Koers. I'm the Chief Information Officer for STM Solutions. That also means I'm not Joris from Rossum, who was plans to be presenting this work here, but he was called away. So I am presenting the work in his stead, but mostly all of the work is Joris and colleagues. So let me start with explaining the problem that this initiative meant to solve, the initiative being a standardized terminology for peer review. And this slide speaks to that problem statement. I think we all recognize how peer review is a hallmark of academic publishing, but also that peer review is definitely not one size fits all. There's different sorts of peer review, different modalities of peer review. And I would argue that that is at its core fundamentally a good thing. It means that there are ways to make it fit for purpose that really work for the specific academic community, as well as different content types. So I think all in all, that diversity of peer review methods is a positive thing. However, it does bring a risk of confusion, misconception, and if people don't really understand this versatility and this diversity in peer review models, that might even lead people to question what is this thing, sort of erode the value that is perceived in the peer review process. This problem is not new. It has been around for a long time, but I think it's fair to say over the last decade or so, this has really expanded because of the emergence of new models of particularly open peer review. A recent survey that's quoted here found more than 122 definitions. So all of that is to say that we felt when we started this work between STM and NISO, that there is a case to be made for more openness, more transparency, and a structured, standardized way to be speaking about these different types of peer review. So that's the work that we set out to do. STM started this in 2019, initially in an STM working group that was formed to harmonize and create improved definitions of the discrete elements of the peer review process. So really laying a structure on that and a structure to help identify the different types and the different modalities of peer review that are out there. In 2021, this moved to NISO, who took up standardization initially, and we did a pilot program as well. And then in 2023, this was launched as a formal NC NISO standard. And this is it. This is that standardized terminology for peer review. And let me talk you through the different elements. There are four distinct facets to this rubric. The first is identity transparency. There is reviewer, the individuals that the reviewer interacts with, what type of review information is published, and what type of modalities exist for post-publication commenting. So starting with identity transparency, this speaks to the anonymity or non-anonymity of all the different actors. Is the peer review process double anonymous, single anonymous? Are all identities known? A couple of options there. The second element is what are the interaction patterns between the reviewer and others? Does the reviewer only interact with the editor, or are they able to exchange ideas, information, assessments with other peer reviewers or with the author? The third is about the review information that is published at the end of the day. Is this completely anonymous, or is the name of the reviewer made available? Is the full report made available? And so on and so forth. There's a lot of options in this one. And then the final dimension that's recognized in this rubric is the possibilities for post-publication commenting. Is it completely open? Is that on invitation, or is that basically not at all possible? So four different angles to make sure that we know what we are speaking about when we speak about a different peer review model. This is of course not meant to say one is better than the other, not at all, but just to have a common way to talk about these different options. So what to do with this? If you're in the audience and you think this sounds like potentially a good idea, how would I take this home to my home institution or my organization? What the model is intended for is really to spur meaningful discussions and conversations. So we would recommend to internalize the terminology and use it with your colleagues when you are talking about different modalities, different modes of peer review. If you are a publisher, we would encourage you to consider implementing the terminology in communications about the journal peer review practices, and also report progress with that implementation. And there's a link to a website that has further information and other things that you might wish to do with the terminology. Thank you.